So the Minister for Education, Sport and Culture, I've asked Julie Edge back here. Again, it's Thursday when we have our access to the ministers. This is really following on from Tynwald. I mean, there are a lot of questions about education, so we really need to sort of do this. And of course, things have changed in the UK as we even speak. You're sitting here without the mask on, so where are we up to? And it did sound like things aren't quite tickety-boo.
Yeah, obviously we're still at level 2 of the winter plan for the island, you know, and I've always said if that changes, we will change in as appropriate in the education settings. I think actually the numerous questions we've had with regards to it, and actually I think on the day some of the conversation was around, well, what's the point of the masks, and you know, are you going to continue with them? But you know, until the island plan status changes, we'll continue with them in education. However,
which is strange because obviously the UK has already changed their rules as we speak. There's not a lot of mask wearing from all accounts in many of the schools. I think it's very hit and miss. Would you agree? I know.
And obviously that's discussions that will be taking place this afternoon actually in a meeting. So the discussions, and we've always said we will review as things change. So we'll follow suit.
This thing of having the windows open, temperatures, issues, all this sort of thing. Are you surprised? I mean, in the old days, I mean, I suppose when we were younger, that was just the way it was. These days it's different, and then maybe for a good reason, but are you thinking, what are you thinking actually?
Well, actually, you know, and having worked in the biggest secondary school, Ballacameen, there are challenges, and you know, even if the teacher opens a window, a child could come along and shut it. So there are challenges. I think the fact that the recommendation is to try and use fresh air as much as possible, it probably is the best way of helping support that mitigation. But obviously there are people that think we should put HEPA filters in every single classroom. However, as you know, all of our buildings are different. They're managed by the Department for Infrastructure, and they've got to be suitable and adequate for a school environment. You can't just go and buy one that you use in your home, because the commercial environment really, and they've got to be safe and fit for purpose in a school. So we have installed them in the rooms that had no external ventilation, and we're continuing to monitor it. And
these monitors, are they in every room, or how's that work?
No, we're purchasing another 23, so there'll be nearly 50, and they are monitored through the CO2 monitors to see where they're most needed, and we get them out as quickly as possible if there is a requirement. However, we're not seeing every room needing these and the investment that's required. So personally, I would prefer to take, and you know, from a department point of view, we need to be looking at the ways of going forward, living with COVID, and what we need to do in our schools and the infrastructure.
I mean, I say the questions were flying yesterday, and you were there reading out all these answers and everything. The whole thing is still strange that you would be the one that would be asking these questions in the past. So again, I ask you, have you been able to put your stamp on things in this department?
Yes, certainly. Obviously, it's the area that I've had experience before being elected in 2016. And, you know, the officers, the teachers, every environment is different in a school. And one of the things that I do always say is, please speak to the head teachers in your areas. You know, I'm not saying embargo anybody to go and speak to the head teachers. Speak to the head teachers. Let them know what the challenges are that you're hearing as an MHK, because without knowing the information and the intelligence from the ground, we can't act and make any changes. We've got lots of challenges, and we've just got to do our best, and the most important is to keep children in front of teachers, getting their education. They've had enough disruption in the last 2 years.
There's been a well-documented thing about teachers and pay. I don't know where we are. Has that actually gone away? I mean, is that still hanging over you?
There is negotiations.
Still going on?
Well, they've started again, so which was, there were delays during the pandemic.
But morale's been low. The usual things I'm going to say here, you know, overworked, underpaid and that sort of thing. What are you going to do?
Well, obviously, so many frontline key workers, and it's not just teachers. We have lots of work, you know, bigger workforce than teachers in our schools. It is something that we need to be aware of and sensitive to. However, the head teachers, their environments, they should be understanding the morale issues in their environments and bringing I feel they should be bringing concerns to me. I'm aware of them myself because I have got a lot of ex-colleagues that keep me fully informed of what's going on.
You're always well informed on the outside, that's for sure, because you ask lots of questions at that stage.
Yeah. So, I've still got them contacts and I will listen, and I think that's the key. Any MHK or anybody wants to come with concerns to me, I'll listen and I'll act where I can. It's not as straightforward as some people think, but I certainly hope going forward as we're coming out of this, and we could get another variant coming along, but we need to be supporting and making sure that education can continue as much face-to-face as possible, but also having that flexibility to be able to switch to online if necessary.
Much was made also in Tynwald that a lot of staff teachers have resigned. You pointed out they can only do it 3 times a year, but taking that into account, it's not good, is it? I mean, the people resigning and whatever this time of year, or your numbers are up, or what? It doesn't concern me that, because I've always been aware of that. Obviously, being at Ballacomene, the staff turnover could be 20 a year, and they could be different times of the year. So it must disrupt pupils, whatever happens, right?
Yes, but of course, I also think throughout the pandemic, Paul, that people are making different choices. They might have thought, well, this isn't for me anymore. And obviously there is an exit process when somebody leaves, so they do have the opportunity to write down what if there was any
interview when you
if
can
there was
say
any concerns. There is documentation. I haven't seen any as yet.
Would you want to see them?
I certainly would expect to have a reporting mechanism so that I'm aware, so that if anything, if a policy change is required, that's what I'm there for, is to make sure that I'm driving policy so that we can have the best education system for our children, but also in conjunction with understanding what staff needs are.
Okay, just to wrap it up, you're in a okay place with this? You're confident how everything's going? I mean, how would you sum it up?
Yeah, I think obviously education's had a lot of challenges before I went in there, and the Beeman's review and the implementation plan, that is coming back to Tynwald in March as to what has been implemented from Beeman's, and I think there has been great progress. Obviously there's always going to be challenges, but we need to keep moving forward with it, and I'd like to think that we're moving beyond Beeman's and we're moving back into a department that's going to be successful for the future, and that hopefully we're bringing everybody along with us and make sure that education's delivered and that every child has the best outcome and opportunity they can.